writers, you're listening to the Kobo Writing Life podcast, where we bring you insights and inspiration for growing your self-publishing business. We're your hosts. I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Joni.
This week on the podcast, we are talking to KWL's author relations and promotion strategist, Shayna.
Shayna is our resident expert when it comes to merchandising and promoting titles. She loves to discover new authors with fantastic books and help them to succeed. And she also comes to the job with a unique perspective. She's a writer herself, has several books self-published, and a nonfiction co-write with Dundurn Press.
So she talked to us about how authors can make Kobo Writing Life promotions work for them and the different ways and approaches that they should approach our promotions tool in trying to get the most sales on Kobo as they can. It's a short but sweet episode, we think, so here it is. Thank you, Shayna, for joining us on the podcast today. Kobo's own KWL merchandising master. I made you a new title.
Hello, everyone.
Even of merch.
So for anyone who doesn't know who you are, can you just quickly introduce yourself and what you do here at Kobo?
Okay, so my name is Shayna Krishnasamy. I am the KWL Author Relations and Promotions Strategist, which basically means I help authors promote their books once they're live on site. I've also been with Kobo for 12 years, so I'm one of the original employees, I guess. One of the OGs from back in the day.
How different is it from 12 years ago?
I have been a remote employee for now 8 years, so I can't even speak. But I was there when the office was new and we moved locations a bunch of times, and there were only 40 employees when I started. So yeah. And the company wasn't called Kobo, it was called Short Covers. So yeah, that's a long time ago. That's 2009. So it's definitely different. Company's definitely a lot bigger now.
And you were one of the people that helped set up the promotions tool, right? That was you and Mark?
Yes. So I'm also one of the original members of the Kobo Writing Life team. So Mark Lefebvre was the director, and then there's me, and then we hired one other person. But yeah, at a certain point in, I think, 2014, we decided to create the promo tab. Yeah, and I was instrumental in getting it all started, I guess.
And how did the promo tab come about? What made you realize that you needed an easier way, I guess, for authors to apply?
So we were doing sales. We were doing monthly sales, which are similar to the ones that we do now. But at the time, I had to email authors directly to ask them to submit because there was no other way to really let them know that a promotion was going on. So obviously, there's a lot of issues with that. Who are we emailing? How do we choose who to email? There were obviously a lot of authors out there who weren't getting any opportunity because, we weren't aware of them or we weren't emailing them directly. We also can't email all of the authors at once because that's thousands and thousands and thousands of people. So we wanted a way for authors to be able to submit to promotions themselves. And so that's kind of how it came about.
And how would you say is the best way for indie authors to use our promotion tab?
So the tab isn't in everyone's account immediately. So if you hear this podcast and you don't have the promotions tab in your dashboard, it says promotions. You can email in at writinglife@kobo.com. I got that right? And ask for it. So once it's in your account, just keep an eye on what promotions are going on. So it'll seem at first when you're looking at it like all we do is free promos all the time, which is not true. We have one free page, but there are a lot of different genre lists on that page. And on the promo tab, each one of these is shown separately. So we collecting for the free page, the sci-fi list, and the free page, the romance list. And so they're all separate all the way down the page, and those are permanently there. So it seems like there's a lot of free, but don't worry, that's not all we do. I would recommend definitely keeping an eye on the tab because we have sales and promos and different stuff going up and down all the time throughout the month. It's not like we put everything up on the first. It's kind of week by week, there's different stuff. And then the deadline for one sale will come. And so we'll take a promotion down. And then maybe for a day or two, it might seem like there's not a lot going on, but there's always new stuff being added. So check it once a week and see what you're interested in. Try different stuff because there's different sales. There's, let's say we're doing a 40% off sale. Generally, those are promo code sales. And so you don't have to change the price of your book. The discount is delivered at checkout by the promo code. So those are good for anyone who's worried about price matching by other retailers. And then, maybe there's price drop ones. There are daily deals in which you put your book on sale, but it's only for a single day. So there's lots of different stuff to try. So I would recommend like trying different things, trying, if you do a price drop sale, try your book at different price points, try different books. Sometimes the first in series will do great, but sometimes maybe your newest book will do great. Like there's a lot of different options.
Something that we get asked a lot when an author gets a BookBub featured deal or they're doing some kind of external promo, what's the best way for them to handle Kobo?
That's a good question, especially with BookBub, because we get a lot of authors saying, I've got a BookBub, what can you do? So my best advice, try to get yourself a double daily deal. So we have these daily deals, which feature just one book, and we have them basically the entire month. It's like 30 slots a month. So if you can get one for either the day of your BookBub or the day after or before, and get some interest in your book right when it's going to be on sale, that's a great idea. We do fill those sometimes earlier than BookBub tells you have a BookBub, so that's sometimes problematic. So my next best advice is just to email in and tell us about it. So let us know, listen, we have a BookBub. We have, that you have a BookBub, sorry. We have bargain lists on the deals page that we fill ourselves. So if you let us know that you have a BookBub, we will immediately put it up on that page, put it up on that list, and you don't have to worry about telling us too far in advance because we've got you covered. And that's the best option. But just to let you know, BookBubs tend to work automatically. Even if we're not giving an extra push, BookBubs tend to do really, really well on our site. So you're kind of guaranteed to get a bump, probably, but letting us know about it is also always a good idea.
What do you find are the most common reasons that you're rejecting authors from promotions? And do people get discouraged easily because of that? Or like how many spots technically are available to authors?
Yeah, so it's different for every promotion, how many spots are available. So like things like a 40% off sale, price drop sale, these larger sales, we'll be doing like 200, 300 books or 100 books. Whereas a daily deal inherently in itself is just one book a day. So let's say for a daily deal or a double daily deal, we get, 100 submissions. I can only choose one and all the rest of them are being declined. So the most common reason that someone is getting declined is because there just wasn't enough space. For example, on the free page, each of these genre lists, I'm only adding 6 books a week and I have to decline everything else. And then for the editor spots, I'm only picking one title a week. So everything else gets declined. So generally, if I'm declining a bunch of books and it's not because the book was bad, it's just because there's no more space, I'll use the rejection reason, all space is filled, which is the reason that you see when you get the email letting you know your book is declined. And so if you see that is what that means. There was just no more space and I had to decline everything, and your book might be terrific, but they're just, try again for the next week. But for books that are being declined because we didn't want to include them, the most common reason is the book cover. Getting your book cover professionally made is super important because it's the first thing the customer sees. It's the first thing I see when I'm choosing which books to include. Like, as I'm sure most authors already know, we're not reading the books before we choose if we're including them in a promotion. When we're choosing 200 books, you're kind of, going through the covers and looking at what looks great. And if your book cover is less than professional, if it's like a copy of every other cover in your same series, just that the title is different, things like that. It's not that we're just like, this is bad, I'm not going to include it, but there are other stronger book covers that are going to be submitted, and those ones are going to be chosen over you. So a professional cover is super, super important, I would say.
I wanted to ask, I don't know if this is going to be a difficult question, but for example, we do a lot of buy more, save mores now, and that started with an author writing in and saying, hey, can you do this sale for me? How much flexibility do we have? If an author has a really cool idea that we haven't done before, is it worth them emailing to let us know about it?
Sure. It depends. Often authors will email in and be like, look, I've got my whole series on sale. What can you do? Often it's difficult to fit those things in. Sometimes they won't be telling us far enough in advance, but even if they are, it's just one author. And if it's just one series, it's just like, let's say it's 7 books. If it doesn't fit into the slots that we have available, then it can be difficult to figure out how to work it. Because at KWL, I'm sure this is clear to a lot of authors, but let's just say it out loud. Like, we're not all of Kobo. we're a department of Kobo. So we don't get unlimited space on the site to sort of advertise everything. And we have, what is it? I think 75,000 authors right now. So there's a lot of authors who want, their series that's on sale to get space. However, if you have still tell us about it, because as I was just saying, there's the bargain list on the deals page and we can definitely put your books in there, or there might be some other, option that we'll be able to come up with. But if you have an idea for like a larger sale that includes like a large group of authors, I mean, just talking to us doesn't hurt, and we can try to brainstorm and come up with something. So it's always good to have new ideas.
Do you have any opinions about pricing? Like, I know that a lot of our sales are price drop sales or reductions, but how important do you think setting a price is when you're an indie author? Should it be in line with trad books, or should you be pricing it differently in any way?
I mean, definitely, we've always been encouraging. When Kobo Writing Life started, a lot of authors were pricing their books at 99 cents because at the time, and this would be 2012, Amazon was really pushing 99-cent books, and that's how they did well on Amazon. But we have found, and we found pretty quickly actually, that Kobo customers are willing to pay a little more. They're willing to pay more than 99 cents, even for an author they've never heard of. So we've spent years trying to entice authors to raise their prices for their books. I mean, generally, I think $5.99, $6.99 is the price point that I would encourage, or even $4.99 for a full-length novel. If you've got like a novella series, maybe you'll want to go lower. But you can also test these things out, right? Like if let's say you publish your book at $5.99 and it's not doing well, you could try a price drop for 2 months to a lower price, or for a week, and see how it does, or try pricing different books in the series. Like often authors will put like the first book in their series free or at 99 cents, and then do like a gradual prices going up gradually over the series. So like the first book is second book is $2.99 and then $3.99 and then the rest at $4.99. I mean, you can just try these things out. That's what's so great about our dashboard. You can change prices anytime you want, basically. So yeah, try things out, but don't go too low for the regular price of your book. But if you're doing a discount, also, don't be afraid to go down to 99 cents. As BookBub has taught us, people still want to buy it 99 cents. And you can sell a lot at that price point, especially if you got a BookBub going on at the same time.
It depends on country as well, right? Am I right in thinking that Australia and New Zealand pays more?
Well, yeah. I would not. Okay, so this is something that a lot of authors do. Many of our authors are American, and they'll just put in an American price and then have it convert for all the other countries. So I would not recommend doing that, just for the most obvious reason that you then get weird prices like $4.61 in Canada and then like $5.77 in Australia or whatever, which we've learned you're just losing money. Like if something's priced at $5.77 and you change it to $5.99, you're going to get just as many sales because the customer doesn't really see the difference between those tiny cents differences. And, if you're selling 1,000 books, that's a big difference in revenue. So might as well go to the 99, call it the charm price, or we used to, where the price ends at 99. But also you don't have to have it be like, let's say the conversion from the US to a different country is like, you're pricing it at $4.99 US and it's like 6 something in Australia. You don't have to do that. You don't have to put it at 6. It doesn't have to be a perfect conversion of the US price. You can price your books whatever you want. So if you want them to be priced at $4.99 all across the board in all the English language countries, which would be Canada, US, UK, Australia, and New Zealand, then you can do that. I would recommend going up a little higher in Australia and New Zealand because customers are just used to paying a little bit more in those countries. Not uncommon for books to be priced higher. So you can go look at our website and see what books are priced in that country. And then try it out at a higher price point and see how it goes. But yeah, definitely putting in a localized price, which means, entering a price for those 5 geos is definitely a good idea.
How would you suggest authors incorporate Kobo Plus into their strategy of Kobo?
Everyone should put their books in. It's new. It's just been launched in Canada, so it's new in Canada, and Canada is our largest market share for Kobo. So I would definitely recommend trying it out. I guess there are worries. Is it going to affect my a la carte sales if I put it into subscription? But I would just say try it and see what happens. Try it and see how you like it. And that's advice.
You were one of the original like KWL founders, and one of the things that made KWL special at the time was that it was created by authors, and that was you and Mark Lefebvre. How did you get into indie publishing? And you're a hybrid author, right? You have a couple of trad.
I do. I have one book published through Dundurn, which is a small Canadian publisher. So when I did creative writing in university, and then when I started working at Kobo, I mean, it was really like in 2010, it was just like, maybe I should publish this book that I, never got published traditionally. So literally, I mean, before KWL existed, indie authors were able to get their books loaded to Kobo. It was just a much more manual process. So I did it, and it was fun, and I just kept going from there. So yes, I mean, there was no like plan. I kind of just fell into it. But I have a few books self-published now, and some novellas and short stories, and yeah, and it's fun and it's great, and you have complete control over everything, which I really enjoy.
Very cool.
Did anything surprise you when you started indie publishing?
Think back to 2010.
A day.
It was funny. I sold a lot at the beginning. The company was a lot smaller, and there weren't a lot of authors like working for Kobo, and there was often like last minute things where they'll be like, we need to include a book in this email, or we need to include a book in this promotion. And I was like, sure, you can take one of my books. So I was in like a lot of stuff in like 2010 to 2011, which was funny. I think that year, 2011, 2012, the Book of Negroes won Canada Reads, which is sort of a competition that's on Canadian TV. And one of my books sold more than the Book of Negroes that year.
Shayna, that should be on your bio at all times.
I'm pretty sure there might have been a glitch in the analytics, but I remember someone calling me over to their desk, and they're like, how did you sell more than the Book of Negroes? Dude, I don't know. It just happened. I was in a lot of promotion. Yeah, so that was surprising. That was something that surprised me.
That's your fun fact when you need a fun fact at any time.
Exactly. Sold more than the Book of Negroes on Kobo.
I also wanted to ask, so sometimes we meet like legacy authors at conferences or whatever, and they'll be like, oh my God, Kobo throws these crazy parties. And I don't know, people have a lot of stories from before Steph and I started at Kobo. And I would like to know if you have any that are okay to share on the podcast.
I can confirm that there were great parties back in the day when, the staff was different. We had a different executive team at that time. Things were pretty crazy. That I went to the London Book Fair in 2000. It must have been 2013. And I went to I went to BEA in New York. Yeah, there were some good parties. That's all I'm gonna say. It was good.
I'm only seething with jealousy. I don't know the detail.
But it's not, I don't even have the best stories. You have to go farther back than that. And I think Frankfurt is crazier than London Book Fair. So then I don't even have that much to say.
I think people have said, like, I have a tattoo from the Kobo party.
Oh, okay. This happened. So we were in, I can't remember it must have been New York. Yes, we were in New York for BA. And we had our party in a bar, and the bar, it's unclear to me if the tattoo artist was like part of the bar or if we paid him to be there. But for real, when I got there, one of our colleagues was getting a tattoo. Like the tattoo was happening. And someone else who was very drunk was like, I'm next in line. And we were all like, no, that is not a good idea. And Michael Tamblin, who is our current CEO, talked her out of it. So later that night, I had another conversation with her, and she's like, Michael says, if I still want to get it tomorrow, he'll bring me back here, which was, I think, a good choice. I did not get a tattoo that day. Photo booth too. That was a good party. My friend lost her glasses. It was, there was open bar, I guess.
Must have been like that period of like tech company time 2010 to like 2014 that people just went bananas.
Yeah, people went bananas. The money was flowing and we liked to party at the time. So the person who was getting the tattoo, it seemed like she knew what she was doing. Like it was kind of like, oh, I have this tattoo for my child. And then I have, I don't know, she had a new kid or she hadn't gotten a tattoo for that kid. So she was getting another one and they matched. So it seemed like, okay, you kind of maybe know what you're doing, but I don't know if anyone else will. So why did who came up with this idea? Okay, I'm not sure, but
I'm very sad we missed this.
People have parties now and they have piercers there to get like ear piercings or whatever.
Ear piercings, sure, but other piercings, not a good idea at like some drunken party. But that's crazy.
What are parties now? I don't remember.
No, I don't know. It's COVID. I don't remember.
What's a party? Our final favorite question: what have you been loving lately?
What have I been loving lately?
I know
about life.
Movie, podcast, TV show.
I just finished watching a show called Never Have I Ever, which I liked very much because I'm half Indian and the main character in the show is Indian and all of the characters were minorities except one, all of the major characters, which was super cool. And it's produced by Mindy Kaling. So I just binge watched that.
Mindy Kaling is cool. Did you see Late Night?
I did not. Really that one, it seemed like all the jokes were in the preview. No shade on Mindy Kaling because I do love her and I'm going to watch it, but I haven't watched it yet.
It's fun. I liked it.
But also, I don't know if you guys saw, but I put on my Facebook feed a clip of Mindy Kaling and Kamala Harris cooking Indian food together, which is when I found out that, so my father is South Indian and Mindy Kaling is South Indian and Kamala Harris is South Indian. And so my post was that someone who is half South Indian, went to high school in Montreal and has a Jewish husband, which are all things that I also have, is going to be vice president of the United States. And it could be me, but it's not me, but it sounds like it could be me, which I enjoyed. That was a really good clip.
Sounds like it was almost you.
It was almost me.
I mean, we don't know what your career in Canadian politics is going to lead you, if you start one, if you don't start one, like the world, it's open to anything. This is what I hope for you, Prime Minister.
One day. It all starts here.
You heard it here first. Is there anything else we should cover?
Don't be upset if you get declined. So if you listen to this podcast the whole way through, I mean, like there's so many reasons that your book might not be included and there's just so many people who want to get into promotions. And it always breaks my heart when I get emails from people being like, but why didn't you choose my book? And sometimes upset, sometimes angry. And it's really like the majority of the time, it's not personal. We just only have so much space. And to be honest, like you could say, oh, why don't you just let all the books in? Like promotions that have like 700, 800 books, like 400 of those books aren't being seen because customers just don't browse that through that many pages of books. They just don't do it. So we have to limit or else you're just going to be disappointed anyway. You're going to be accepted into the promotion and then not get any sales, which is a different kind of disappointment. So please just keep submitting, try different sales, try different things. And then if you've been, declined a lot of times, then, like definitely email in and ask us what the reason is. But the reason is almost always just that we didn't have enough space. So keep trying.
Good message to end on.
Thanks for joining us this lovely afternoon.
No problem. Go Kobo.
Thank you for listening to the Kobo Writing Life podcast. If you're looking for more information on how to grow your sales with Kobo, visit KoboWritingLife.com.
This episode was produced by Stephanie McGrath and Joni DiPlacido with assistance from Rachel Warden. Music was provided by Tearjerker. Editing is done by Kelly Robotham. And big thanks to Shayna for being our guest today.
If you're ready to start your self-publishing journey today, sign up for free at kobo.com/writinglife. Until next time, happy writing.